My name is AliciaEesh, and this is Nerdvana Webcast. Today, let's talk about anime. Now, if you're thinking about anime, you're typically thinking about animation that originated from Japan. Anime News Network in particular has a really great article about why they define anime as animation that originated from Japan. Now, this has kind of evolved and changed, and a lot of people don't agree with this definition anymore. A lot of people say that it's more the stylistic choices that you make, or the general visual identifiers that have kind of created this genre, define anime. If you're thinking purely about this definition of animation that originated from Japan, then technically anime started in 1917, though a lot of people wouldn't agree with that either. Technically, anime as we know it today started in the 1960s in Japan. This guy, which I'm not even going to try to pronounce his name because I will totally butcher it and then the internet will hate me, is known as kind of the king of anime, or the king of manga is actually what he's referred to. He is the creator of one of my favorites, Astro Boy. He's also created a lot of great other things, but let's stick with Astro Boy for now because I think it is the one most people will recognize. So he began this kind of stylistic change, or the identifiers that we know of as anime, in the 1960s in Japan. But anime as we know it in the States actually didn't start to become popular until the 1980s, and it really didn't boom until the 1990s. We were just a little late to the party. So you're thinking about your Sailor Moons, your Pokemons, your Digimons, your Monster Hunters, those sorts of things. So as the aforementioned word manga, I think that's how it's pronounced, we're thinking about purely graphic novels and comics. So when somebody gets grumpy with you when you're actually talking about a manga to them in a convention and you refer to it as an anime, they're kind of a little bit justified. Animes are cartoons or animations. Mangas are comic books and graphic novels. Well, that doesn't mean that genre identifiers can't be used for both. So I will list the most popular genre identifiers for you now so you can have some sort of knowledge base when you're talking to people. I will also put them next to me because I will probably butcher those words as well, and I don't want the internet to hate me. So when you're thinking about shounen, you're actually thinking about boy-centric anime, or anime that revolves around action, martial arts, and fighting. When you're thinking about shoujo, you're actually thinking about girl-centric anime, which is kissy faces and romance and fairy tales, you know, that kind of stuff. When you're talking about mecha, you're talking about robot-centered anime. You're talking about people getting into big robots and fighting things and defending cities, or people fighting big robots. Just robots. Robots, robots, robots. When you're talking about yaoi or yuri, which I know I am definitely butchering, you're actually talking about homosexual-centric anime. When you're thinking about hentai, we're not actually going to discuss it because the internet does not need more porn. Because yeah, it's porn. So now let's talk about the stylistic similarities between most animes and mangas. You're talking about those big eyes, the brightly colored hair, the hair that's weirdly pointy and perfect, hair that doesn't exist in reality. You're also talking about disproportionate bodies sometimes, really long arms, really long legs in particular on women. Now, this doesn't mean that all animes and mangas have to share these stylistic and visual choices, but most of them do. And when you're describing anime typically to somebody else, these are terms that are typically used. Now, it's really curious because these identifiers were actually inspired in the 1960s in Japan by a lot of Western cartoons that were happening in the States. You're talking about Warner Brothers cartoons, Looney Tunes, Bugs Bunny, Elmer Fudd, those sorts of things. Those things actually inspired these stylistic choices in the anime that we know today. This is strange because this seems to happen a lot. We kind of play this game of artistic telephone with Japanese culture in terms of the fact that we inspire them and then they inspire us, and we just kind of go back and forth in this weird circle. This has actually happened also in vinyl art toy movement in Japan, which is a whole other episode. You're welcome. Anyway, we're talking about the anime boom in the 1990s. When that happened, it happened really quickly, and a lot of people fell in love with it fast. This has kind of created a polarizing fandom in the geek and nerd culture. A lot of things happened very quickly. A lot of cosplayers started popping up, a lot of anime conventions started popping up, and this can make some people sad because there aren't conventions for other things that they love that they think have equally important fandoms. Now, we can't discount anime and manga entirely either, because it has influenced a lot in the geek and nerd culture very recently. If you're thinking about cartoons in particular, you're thinking about your Powerpuff Girls, you're thinking about your Kim Possibles, your Teen Titans, the Batman, those sorts of things. So in no way can we discount the influence and the importance that it's had on our culture. So do you love anime? Do you love manga? If you do, please leave your most loved in the comments below. If you hate it, please tell me why. The internet will probably be mad at you too, but who cares? The internet is always mad. Thanks so much, and y'all have a geeky day.